All right, so everybody likes to be seated, so let's do a few things from the seated position. Okay, I'm not in any crazy yoga poses here. I'm just sitting, how they say, crisscross applesauce, or as yoga would put it, the easy pose. So your legs are comfortably crossed. Okay, I do have my yoga block here for something a little bit later, so if you want to grab that, go right ahead. Um, I can't stress enough, again, once you are sitting, to find where you are comfortable on your center. So, after you've done the one while you're standing, when you sit down, you should be a little bit more aware of where you are. So, you want to be, you're right on those sit bones. And it's going to feel like you're kind of far back, but that's where you're supposed to be. Okay? So, go ahead and take a second to find that. You can even do sort of what we do when we stand, okay? And that is, come forward a little and back a little, side a little and side a little. Or you could do a little bit of a circle, whatever is comfortable, okay? But I wanted to illustrate a point that I had made earlier, which was when we were standing and we were doing our stretches to the sides. I said to anchor that opposite leg into the floor. And I think when we're sitting, sometimes you can feel that a little bit better. So if you set your left hand down and you take the right arm, and you stretch it over. The tendency when you stretch to the side is to bring your whole body over. You don't want to do that. So when you go to stretch over, you want to make sure that hip stays on the ground. Okay? Same thing when you're standing. We have a tendency to shift our weight to the side, but we want to anchor that hip and that leg and make sure that it's just a full stretch to the side. Okay? Okay. So what I wanted to do first here was just to connect your spine into one piece. And so you imagine that your head is at the top, because it is, and your tailbone is at the bottom, because it is, and you are able to curve that spine and lengthen that spine. And so your belly button is your center. At least that's what I teach. And so that's where your impetus for all of your movement lies, okay? And so I imagine that belly button is pushing back into my spine, and that is what curves me over. And then when I come back up straight, that is what is radiating up through my pelvis and then up through my head. Okay? So I have everybody do that a couple times. And so we curve. You want to see if it's a little bit easier from the side view here, to curve over and then to lengthen and then to curve and then to lengthen. Okay, and so we do this a couple times. Good. And again, you can connect this to your breath so that when you are coming up when you inhale, and then when you're curving over in your C, you're exhaling, and then inhaling, and then exhaling, and then inhaling, and then just stay here and exhale. Okay, good. All right, so the other thing, same kind of deal, that the bottom of your pelvis is where sort of the impetus for this movement comes. You're going to twist, okay? And so you twist from the bottom like a spring. It's going to come from the bottom all the way up to the top. So it's going to come from your pelvis floor, and it's going to twist, 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 all the way through the top of your head. And then unwind back to the front. And then to the other side, you're going to twist, 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 twist. And then unwind. And if you want, you can twist and extend your hand as the end of that. And then twist, 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 twist. And extend the hand as the end of that. Okay, good. So then we would twist, and you would use your opposing hand on the knee to give you a little extra twist. Extend that back hand back, nice and open through the chest, okay? And you're nice and open and wide to the universe, if you will, okay? So here you are. And then if you are comfortable here, if that's okay, you can even take a little arch to the back, okay? And then come right up on it. And then you'll unwind. Good. And then you'll twist from the pelvis. You'll use your opposite hand on the knee, and you'll push open. That back hand is nice and extended out. And you can do a little arch. Good. And then let that unwind. And I do that a couple times. Unwind. And again. And unwind. Good. I'm not sure where your comfort level is with your legs here, but if you can bring your foot up and set it on your thigh, easy peasy. And you can take whatever stretch you want here. If you can put your hands down in front of you, and sort of walk it out as you get more comfortable. But you can just take it right here and just try to keep your back nice and straight, and try to really breathe into the places that are tight. So usually it's those hip flexors that we're stretching here, and so they're going to be tight. So if you take a deep breath in, just imagine that that breath is going right to that spot, and that it's untightening that spot for you. Okay. So if you just hang out here for maybe 30 seconds or so, you can close your eyes and breathe a couple times into it, and you can try to lower yourself a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more each time. Okay, that's good. You can bring your leg over a little. Okay, so that ankle was on the thigh. If you shift it over just a little bit so that your knees are sort of on top of each other, this is called a scissor stretch. Again, it's a hip flexor stretch. So and the same thing I have my students do. So you kind of walk yourself out at your ability or at your convenience. So same thing there. You can walk yourself back up, and I would say unwind yourself. Okay, so if you want to come back to where it's comfortable, you're gonna switch. So you're gonna take the other leg. You're going to put that ankle right on the thigh, just like we did. Okay, and you're going to stretch over. Breathing into the hip sockets, which are nice and tight, I'm sure. Especially for runners and walkers like we are, they tend to be very tight. Okay. And then you're going to shift your leg over so that now your knee is right on top of the other knee right here. Okay. And again, you can come over at your comfort level. Okay. Breathing into that, I would say about 30 seconds probably would be sufficient to breathe into that. And then slowly walk yourself up. Don't push too hard, okay? So just walk slowly up, slowly unwind. Okay. Come back through the positions that I brought you through. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. So the shoulders. There's a stretch. I'm not sure if you've encountered the eagle stretch, and there's a full standing stretch, but I always have them do a seated one. So you're going to take your hand, your right hand, and you're going to place it palm right in front of your face. Okay. And then you're going to take the left hand, and it's going to come down underneath that arm. Okay, so the elbow to elbow here, and then it will wrap around so that the top of the hand comes against the palm, and that both palms are now flexed and energized and right in front of your face. Okay, some people have trouble bringing that one all the way around, so that's okay. If you want to just put one palm on top of the other like this, if that's comfortable, that's fine. It'll do the same thing. And if you let your elbows come into your body, you're not going to get much of a stretch. So you really want to have them nice and lifted here. Okay, so really from the sternum probably. And you're going to feel the stretch right through the shoulders here. It's going to be a nice opening stretch through the shoulders. Okay, good. And then you'll unwind that and you'll do the same thing on the other side. So you'll take the left hand, palm right in front of the face, elbow nice and lifted, sort of right at sternum level. We'll take the right hand, right elbow comes down underneath. There, good. Good. And then you can unwind that. All right, good. So if you want to come over you'll bring your knees up. Okay, so your feet will be flat on the floor. You'll bring your knees up. You'll hold onto your knees. You'll let yourself come back just a little bit so that you're kind of at an angle. If you want to use your yoga block for this, then that's fine. Okay. This is the boat pose. So it ultimately you'll want your legs up like this, and you'll sort of be balancing on your sits bones here. Okay, like this. But I tell people if they want to put their feet on the yoga block, like this, it's working those center muscles, and that's really kind of why I do it, is to get people's center muscles engaged. And so you can keep your feet on the yoga block and still do that. That's fine. So if you want to do that, that's okay. And then even if you want to work your way off of the yoga block, just up a little bit like this, then that's perfectly fine too. Okay. So yeah, what you would do is just bring yourself back so that you can feel those center muscles just engage. Okay. And then you reach forward. I always have my palms up. Okay. And then you can bring those feet up off the yoga block if you would like. Okay. And if you want to be really advanced, you can extend those legs, but you don't have to do that. And then you can rock forward and set them down. Okay? Good. Good. All right. We'll do one more thing, and then I'll let you rest. All right. So you're going to come over on your hands and your knees. Okay? I'm sure you've done this before. It's pretty standard issue yoga. But super good for your back. All right. So your hands are going to be right underneath your shoulders. Okay? And your knees right underneath your hip bones. Okay, that is an appropriate position this is the table, your tabletop. Okay. The cat cow, I'm sure that you have done this. The cat, of course, has an arched back. All right, and again, you'll imagine just like you did when you were sitting that the belly button, is coming up to the spine. It's pushing up to the spine, and that's sort of what's curving your back. Okay, and then you'll come back to the flat back table. All right, and then you'll let that belly button kind of fall down, and you'll have a nice scooped back. Okay, like a cow. All right, and then it'll come back to the flat back. So you'll go through this, and I always do it on a 2 count. So it's 2 counts into cat, and 2 counts to flat back, and 2 counts to cow, and 2 counts to flat back, and 2 counts to cat, and 2 counts to flat back, cow, and flat back, and cat. And then I turn it over to the students and I say at your own time, using your own breath. And so some people just ripple through it, never stopping, so that it is sort of a constant fluid motion, constant change. So it's really up to you. But this is excellent for your back and your abdominal muscles. So, okay? So it's really important that when you're done, you come back to that nice flat back, okay? Because that's your sort of center point, okay? And then anytime you pick up your leg or your arm, it's called balancing table. And so I always start with just extending the arm first, okay? And setting that down. And extending the other arm. And it would go just directly out in front of you, and it would go right at the same plane as your body. And down, and then you would extend the leg. And in, and extend the other leg. And in. And I go around in a circle like that 2 or 3 times. So arm, arm, leg, leg, again, arm, arm. Being aware of when you are shifting your weight, leg, and leg. That when you shift your weight, like when you pick up your arm, okay, you are really shifting your weight to all 3, both legs and the hand, not just one or the other, okay? And again, to all 3, and to all 3, okay? So again, this is all about balance, okay? And we could do the same exercise that I always do, the shifting of the weight and all of that, but I think you get it, okay? So you can then increase your level of difficulty by extending at the exact same time the arm and the opposite leg. So if I'm doing the right arm, it would be the left leg that's extending, okay? And in. And then you'll extend the left arm, right leg. And in. Good. And that's hard because you are balancing on those opposing appendages. And so if you need time to work on that, then that's fine. And I say then just pick up your knee in your hand so that it's easy to catch yourself. Okay? So you just pick them up and then it's easy. Right? And then with increasing difficulty, extend out. And extend out. Good. You don't want to put all of your weight on one, like on your knee, which most certainly can take all your weight. But you don't want to do that. It's terrible for your knee, and it's very much out of balance. So you really want to share the weight between the hand and the foot, or hand and the leg. Okay? All right, if you want a nice little stretch to end this with, one of the fun ones is called thread the needle. And so you'll take, let's say you'll take your left hand, okay? And you're going to reach underneath your right arm, all right? I always say you just slide it along the floor and until your head comes down and you can rest. So you've threaded the needle through. Okay, and again, that's a nice twist through your back. Right, and then you'll want to walk yourself up out of that. And you'll take your right hand, place it on the floor, and slide it underneath the left hand. And really breathe into this. And then come up. And I would do that a couple times, maybe twice each side. And then you can come back onto your heels. Okay. And then you can do your child's pose. And there's different versions of child's pose. There's active and there's passive child's poses. And so you can come down and have your forehead is on the ground. Your palms are up. This is an active pose. And with the palms down, it's also an active pose. You're still engaged in the floor here. Okay. But then there's one you can put underneath your head. Or you can put reaching back right along your body. And that's a nice passive pose. Okay? I love you. I hope this helps.